Suddenly, he's angry again. But this time, like, scary angry. And he is, like building this anger up, getting, like, huffing and puffing, and then, like, starts just, like, speeding really quickly, then, like, stopping the car. And there's cops everywhere again. And yes, we have drugs in the car.
Hello and welcome to Two Beers Till Takeoff, the podcast inspired by conversations overheard at the airport bar. Join Phil as he grabs a couple of beers and chats with interesting people from around the world, sharing expert knowledge and hilarious stories that you won't find in your guidebook. So pull up a stool and get ready for an adventure as we explore worlds of travel and beyond with Two Beers Till Takeoff.
4 hours in a Taliban headquarters.
I had dog meat in Laos.
Was it golden retriever?
Smack a dirty old smooch on our beautiful fish right here.
He didn't die, but he fell down beside the bathtub.
Howdy y'all, and welcome to Happy Hour. My name is Phil, and today we're in for a fun one. Stick around for the end of the podcast as my guest and I share a wild story. We share a wild story at Coachella, and we swap our top 5 favorite podcasts. What are you listening to? Alright, we're headed to the deep and dirty south of the United States of America. Today's guest is the host of 2 podcasts. Not just 1, 2. The Culture Cult Travel Show and also Start That Pod. Originally, she's from Alabama, United States, has traveled to 12 countries, and she's looking to go on an epic backpacking trip. Roll Tide! Welcome to the show, Marie!
Roll Tide, y'all. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. This is how I talk, and this is how we all talk in the South.
Really?
Just, you know.
You weren't just talking.
No. Okay, I'm not. What if I was faking my voice the entire time we've known each other?
I'm like, shit. I didn't know. I thought you were like used to like LA accents, or I'm learning.
No, I talk normal. There are different kinds of accents though, and that's one of them. There's all kinds of accents in the South, but I am from Alabama. Yes, Roll Tide.
Nice.
Let's all say it together.
Roll Tide. What's going on with you? What's new?
Roll Tide. You know this, but I moved from LA to Nashville because I wanted a home base where I could travel, and here I'm doing it. I'm going to travel this year. Fuck yeah. I don't know what else to say besides that. Going traveling.
Nice.
That's what's up.
Nice. Listen, I just went to the gym and I'm worn slap out.
Oh, yes. I need to work out more. Actually, I do. I haven't. I used to make fun of cycling people, and then I am now a cycling bitch. I am on the cycle. What's it called? The Peloton?
Oh, shit.
I'm like dancing. I'm like by myself. Like I'm not in a class. I'm literally dancing in public on the cycle. It's actually so fun. If you're a dancer, it's like the closest way to dance while working out. Because like, it's just like you get a groove, you get like some EDM on or like whatever, and you just go. Like it's like one of the workouts I could do for like an hour.
Wow. Without
being bored.
So essentially all we need for humans to work out more is just like basically a video game screen to fucking... Because isn't that what it is? It's like...
I don't watch them. I don't know. Actually, I don't really need the Peloton. I just like... that it's like, I don't know. I don't need the Peloton.
But listen, so we've got a couple things to cover here today. As a Canadian, I'm fixing to learn a bit more about the South. So where are you from in Alabama?
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. People like it now. I don't think it doesn't need to be a stop, y'all. You can keep going when you're driving.
Shots
I mean,
fired.
it has like breweries and stuff. Sorry. It's just like, there's a lot of cool cities in the South, and I feel like that one has like kind of a weird energy. It's kind of a darker energy. I'm not really about it. But if you happen to stop through Birmingham, like it has, like I think like land can hold energy, and like you can feel it in Birmingham. Like a lot of southern cities, they have a lot of life to them, so it kind of combats all the fucked up history that's happened there. But Birmingham just has this like heaviness that hasn't left.
So it needs like some more crystals or something.
We need more
healing crystals.
We need, yeah, I don't know. I need something. I mean, like I'm from Alabama. We have good like lake life. If you like the lake parties are fun there. If you like to drink, Mobile, Alabama, fun. I don't know. It's something. Alabama's nice, I guess. But I'm interested to hear your stereotypes. Like let's break down the stereotypes.
I was trying to throw in as many as I could. Roll Tide, worn slap out, fixin'. But no, I'm interested to
Dixon.
know, what was it like growing up in Alabama?
I hated it. Like, I feel like this knocked me positive. Like,
It's fucking dark, man.
Like, no, I really hate, like, my first memories were like, I want to leave. I want to travel. Like, I was like, this is so boring. It's very monoculture. Like, I'm speaking from my own experience. I don't know, just wasn't my thing. And I'm starting to appreciate it now more once I'm not living there, but it's very green. I will give it that. It's very green, very slow. I like the crickets in the summer. It's hot and slow, and like, you'll have a great conversation anytime you go to a gas station. You know, it's kind of that vibe.
Nice.
Friendly, you know. But I don't know, it just was never my thing. But something you may not know, so I'm part Middle Eastern, and we have a huge Arab culture in Birmingham.
Nice.
So lots of Palestinian, Syrian, Lebanese. I'm part Lebanese. And so if you want some good Middle Eastern food, oh yeah, Birmingham, we got you.
Fucking right.
We got you on that
Couple
part.
shawarmas.
You wouldn't think, but
Shawarmas.
yeah. Shawarma. I want to shout out, if you're ever in Birmingham, it's a great stoner spot for all you stoners out there. Go to Al's downtown. The ceilings are like thick and like blue styrofoam. Like, it's one of those things, like the ceiling may fall on you, you may get in your food, but it'll still be good. It's so good. Oh my God. Great Middle Eastern food there. Yeah, I don't know. Birmingham, it's interesting. Lots of, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not saying you need to go to Alabama, but if you happen to go, there you go.
Nice. So
I don't have the positive.
So skip fucking
Sorry, y'all.
Birmingham. But now you live in Nashville. Can you maybe compare, contrast some of the differences that you've experienced with living in Alabama?
First of all, Nashville's great. Like, I love how walkable it is. Like, it's a party town. I've always loved a party town. It's always lit. The energy here is good. Again, I'm all about the energy. Like, the land here has good energy. The people, I know you're laughing, but like you can feel it. You can feel it when you're going between Alabama and when you go from Birmingham to Nashville. Like, I don't know. There's some cities that have like a heavy energy. Memphis had a weird energy. New Orleans, best city in the world, great energy. Charleston has a weird energy. I don't know if you've been there.
No.
Heavy. It has heavy. That's the South. It's like it just has these pockets where I think like the history is still kind of has a stronghold. So Nashville's fun. I'm liking it. I think Tennessee's a beautiful state. But my heart will always be in California. I love California. Like, I've lived there for 5 years, and so I miss it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So my heart's there.
Yeah, I actually went to Nashville. I don't know if I told you this, but I went for a bachelor party, and we only did kind of the touristy areas, the honky tonk row and that type of stuff, but it was still really cool. From what I read, though, is that there's so much more to the city than just kind of that touristy area. Oftentimes in a lot of cities, right, it's not just the touristy areas. But have you had a chance to kind of experience kind of those lesser known gems of Nashville?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm like literally 4 weeks fresh, but I do live in a cool part of town. It's called Germantown, and it's like lots of breweries, lots of bars, and it's not honky tonk. Like, there's this like absinthe bar down the street that also serves like wine and truffles. Like, fuck yes.
Not what you expect from the South.
I think No. I mean, I don't know yet. I don't know. What I am excited about is the summer. There's so many lakes and creeks. I'm looking for someone with a boat. If you have a boat and you live in Nashville, I'm a great time. Let's partner up. I'm not kidding. Every person I meet in Nashville, I'm like, hi. Do you have a boat? Do you have a boat? So if you have a boat and you live in Nashville, hit me up. I have nothing to offer you.
I'm sure there's some like sugar daddy website
something
that you can probably.
No, I'm looking for. No, wrong.
How bad do you want
I'm
a boat?
looking for. That sounds like a show. How bad do you want a boat? No, if you're like normal and you happen to be attractive and rich and you have a boat, like, hit me up.
See what happens.
That's it. So that's what I'm expecting of my life in Nashville. My goals here, I kind of want to join a cover band, like an old man cover band, you know? And I want to be on a boat a lot.
Sounds like a
good
good
aspirations in life.
So one of the things that Nashville is known for is country music. How's that? Have you been going to a lot of shows? Have you been going to kind of experience some of that, take some of that in?
Not yet. I mean, I know we talked about this the other day. Like, we like good country music, and there's a lot of bad country music playing out there on Broadway. I would love to educate y'all once I find the right bar, but I would love to find a bar that plays really good country music.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
Yeah, I there's one bar that I didn't get to go to. It's the Bluebird Cafe or something like that. Have you heard of that?
Let me look that up. No, I shall look it up.
It's
right now.
it's I don't know if it's a country music bar, but I was watching the Garth Brooks documentary that was on Netflix, and I think that's where he got discovered.
So cute.
It's like a songwriter's bar, basically.
This is so Southern. I'm looking at it. Oh my God.
I don't know if it's good, but I just know if Garth Brooks got discovered there, he's like the number 2 ever recording, like most album sales of all time, or second most of all time.
Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Damn. And he got discovered there. Yeah. Yo, good to hear. I would love to go there. It looks so cute. It looks like has like sticky tables, like there might be smoke in the air from cigarettes, it looks like a good little spot. I will go there. It looks really fun. But no, I wanted to give a quick little shout outs to like good country music artists. I was telling you yesterday, it's a chick called Valerie June. I think she's from Tennessee, actually. Gorgeous human being, and she makes amazing like bluegrass music. Yonder Mountain String Band, that's a really fun band to see. They tour. And then we were talking about the classics yesterday. Like, I always loved Toby Keith and Dierks Bentley and like Josh Turner. Oh, he's a great voice.
Great voice, yeah.
So I try to stick it to around like early 2000s country, and then further back like Dolly and all that. But the new stuff, yeah, it's annoying. Let's just say the word.
It's frustrating a little bit that
it's just pop.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many times you can recycle the same words to make a song.
Yeah, I think that's the issue with music in general today. It's just formulaic pop, and people who don't, I'm just going to say it, people who don't actually love music, who want to just it's the fast food of music. You can get it very quickly, you can digest it quickly, and you can never think about it again. But I want truffle. I want fucking wine and cheese and olives. Like, I want good fucking food, just how much I want good fucking music. And I think pop is the antithesis to good music because it's formulaic, and that's what country is now. They've made it into this like formulaic pop. So not to go on a huge rant, but there are a lot of good artists out there like happening today. Like, again, Tyler Childers is a great example. I was in LA and I was driving by and I saw this massive line outside the Wiltern. I was like, who's playing? Like, I've never seen a line like that. And that's how I discovered Tyler Childers. Yeah. He was playing that night. And I was like,
yeah, I'm quite passionate about this too, because I find that, like you, like, I like music that's different. I like music that, is real. It's, the person that's performing is actually the person that wrote that fucking song, right? It comes from the heart. They know why that song was written, or those words were said. And it just feels like shows like American Idol and shit like that are ruining what music used to be. Music used to be, you'd suck at an instrument for an amount of time, and then you'd eventually get better and better and better, and then you get bands like Nirvana, or like, you know what I mean, like these bands that just start a new genre. Whereas now it's like fucking, like you said, it's an algorithm based song. Like it's what's popular right now, and then just recreating that.
It's awful. So, I mean, I hope to find like a real bar. Like, I know there's something called Rudy's Jazz Club here, which is, I love improv jazz, and that's a huge spot. But I'm looking. Oh, actually, I found out Jack White. Oh God, I love Jack White. He has it's a bar. They also play live music. It also is a photo like developing studio, and it's a record store.
Sounds like Jack White.
Everything you could. Yeah, so I was like, he actually comes to my restaurant a lot, Jack White. So
oh, no way.
I'm going to fangirl. Yeah. So that's a cool spot I'm going to try to check out. So maybe I'll take some pictures, maybe post it, and you can like post it. Yeah. Be like, this is what you could check out in Nashville once I check it out. I'm excited to learn about the city. There's something really cool. It's in LA, I think Oklahoma City, and in Nashville. It's a group of friends that opened up their house, and they have live music every end of the month, every last Saturday. Bring your own beer, bring your own drugs, bring over whatever you want, bring your own food, and there's a bar there. But you get to see all these amazing live acts, and anyone can go up. It's like an open mic after. So it's such a great community. It's called Lower Deck Sessions.
Okay, cool.
It's very low key. It's in Los Angeles. That's the first one I went to, but they have one in Nashville, so I'm going to go there too.
Nice.
So I'm excited to discover all like different kinds of music here. I'm at the beginning of my journey in Nashville, so we'll see.
Nice. Excited to hear more about it. One of the things too that I think the South is known for is football. You famously said that Nick Saban, the 71-year-old Alabama Crimson Tide football coach, was your hall pass.
Hottie.
He's your hall pass. Have you had the chance to meet the legend?
Oh, not directly, but I was.
I heard he has a boat.
Somehow. I know he is. Also, he's a Democrat living in Alabama. Can you believe that? A boat Democrat football star. But anyways, I was somehow chosen to be a sports photographer for like the newspaper in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Why was I chosen? I was shooting basketball, baseball. That was the worst. Oh my God. I did not know what I was doing. I had to write captions too. My captions were like, pitcher throws ball.
Guy catches it.
No, literally, I was like, hits hard.
A lot of clicks from the gay
yelled
community.
at. They were yeah. I was like, why? Anyways, I was really in charge of a lot of the football programs. So I went to all the conferences, all of like the picks. Like I got to be on the field and like be with the football players, and I got to shoot, but I didn't have these big lenses, so my shots were like kind of average. But I was in his vicinity a lot, and it was nice. But I couldn't tell you what really was happening now. But I love football.
What year was this?
Oh God, when did I graduate? 2013. So probably a championship year, not like this year, but Roll Tide either way. Yeah, so that was really fun. Football is massive here. That's why I don't even mess around with like football when I'm in other states. 'Cause I'm like, you don't even know. Like people live and die here. They go to prison for it. Like,
have you been like, so as a photographer, I assume you've been to the games, you were on the field, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So can you maybe, for people who don't know, because obviously I think football, especially college football in the South, is in a class of its own.
Huge.
Can you maybe describe kind of what game day looks like?
Game day is about the tailgate. Honestly, I think the parties outside the stadium. The stadium is very fun. Very fun. But the tailgate is so much fun. Like, everyone's just like, it's just mass amounts of people walking to all the bars. And then you have like the fancy people have the RVs. And then you have your tents. And like the entire town is a tailgate. And you just get absolutely shit-faced from like 7 a.m. to whenever you go to bed. So it's so fun. Alabama particularly has a great tailgate. Auburn has a pretty cute one. UGA, Athens, Georgia has a great tailgate because they also have an incredible amount of bars, live music. I say tailgate. The games are fun, but that's where the party's at. Except, I did get to storm a field once. I stormed the field.
Shit.
I went to Auburn for 1 year, which I know for people that's controversial. I know. But I was at the game where Auburn beat Alabama. And we stormed the field. And it was so cool and terrifying at the same time.
Wow.
People were getting
trampled. Were you in Auburn when that happened? Okay,
yeah, so I actually went to Auburn for 1 year.
Alabama, like...
And I was an Alabama fan, so I was like, this feels awkward. But but which is fun too, is like at Auburn, they also throw toilet paper all over the town. So sustainable, so healthy for the environment, but also so fun. And you get to... No, like the whole town is rolled. And one time I was walking and some asshole threw a toilet paper roll at my head from the truck. Like at my head. So that can happen to you there too. But yeah, so it's all about a party. That's why you were like, you should go to a UCLA game and do what? Like, you don't know how to party. Like that's what I was saying about the South. Like we get down, y'all. So on a day-to-day basis, kind of boring until football season. That's where we thrive.
Nice.
So, sure.
In your opinion, I know you said you went to a few places, but if people are like, hey, I really want to go and take in that experience, give me your top 3 stadiums to go visit.
Yeah,
I'm really looking to see if you're going to put Auburn or fucking Alabama first.
Well, I'm not a Tennessee person, but I think theirs is cool because it's on the river. And I did go to a game like on a boat once, which was on the river. That was pretty cool. Athens. Go to Georgia. They have a beautiful stadium, and their mascot's a freaking bulldog. Like, are you kidding me? I honestly will say Auburn because they have a bald eagle fly around the whole stadium, and the whole stadium's like screaming, and then like it flies around the whole thing. So you gotta experience that, and you gotta roll the town. And I know Ole Miss has a great tailgate, and Alabama has a great tailgate. FSU, I heard, is a huge party school too.
FSU
I can't
is Florida State.
say I've been to those. Florida State, yeah. I think those are great tailgate ones.
Not necessarily
Lame ones. Mississippi State is just a gross, shitty town, so just don't go there. Yeah.
I remember in university, so I got the chance to do in college for Americans. In college, I got a chance to do like a year abroad, and so my 2 choices were either Germany or to go to Georgia Southern.
Jesus. Oh my God. And you obviously went to Georgia Southern.
No, I
obviously. Screw Germany.
I went to Germany, but
thank God.
Where is Georgia Southern even? Like, I don't even fucking know.
I don't even know, but I think that's like an STD college. So thank God.
It's an STD college?
Like, there's like some college in the south of Georgia that's known as the STD college. So, why were those your choices?
No, I had other ones. Those were just the only 2.
Are they tripping?
It's in Statesboro with additional camps.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I think that's it.
Wow.
Maybe I'm starting a rumor, but I'm pretty sure that's the STD college. So thank God you went to Germany. That is a horrible choice.
It was one of the only ones with the timing and what was available. That's what I was looking at. So I was just like,
hey, do you want to go to Georgia Southern? Or do you want to go to Germany? What?
What?
Like, what idiot was like, Georgia Southern, duh.
Well, I was interested in Georgia Southern because I knew that it was in the south of in the U.S. and that I could potentially experience an STD. No, I mean, college football.
Yes.
So that's the reason I was kind of interested in that. But no, glad I went to Germany. And maybe I should, just focus on Georgia, Bama, Auburn, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think those would be really fun. Oh, LSU. Oh my God, LSU, Baton Rouge. God, LSU fans are fun. Like they play a really dirty game too. So I do want to throw in LSU.
Wow.
They're really pissed because we stole Saban, so they really hate us. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool like bachelor party to like just do a couple, just like a week or 2, just couple road games. And
oh yeah, I think that would be so fucking fun. Yeah, I mean, you have to come in the fall. I think that's a really fun time to come to the South, and you just got to go to New Orleans. If you don't go to New Orleans, you're an idiot.
I actually was we're just gonna talk about bachelor parties this whole time, but I was actually supposed to go to a bachelor party in New Orleans right at the beginning of the pandemic. So we were off by I think like 2 or 3 weeks. And then everything shut down.
Damn. You have to go. Bachelor party or not. You can go anytime. It does not have to be Mardi Gras. It's actually, I liked it. I've been when it's very busy and I've been when it's not. And like the locals there are so cool. They're so cool. Like they get drunk at all times of the day. So it's a party either way. I love that town.
Yeah. For us, it's a really. I'd love to go and experience the party, but for me, there's another part of Louisiana that I think is really interesting. Is the Cajuns. You heard of the Cajuns, right?
I love their culture.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Cajuns are actually from where I live. So what happened in 1775, 1755, excuse. Well, you know that like North America was populated by English and French colonizers, and then they essentially they had a war, and what they did to take the French people out of the region is that they deported them and just like threw them on boats, and that's why like that there's so many French people in Louisiana, because they ended up in Louisiana, all people from this region.
I did not know that. What?
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. Thank you. I love getting my mind blown. I had no idea.
Yeah. So there's.
But their French is. What do you think as a French, like, since you speak like Canadian French, like, what do you think of the?
Oh, it's
like, the
it's
Creole,
an
the
interesting.
Cajun?
It's like, I think it's crazy, like, to listen to. It's awesome, and I think you kind of get that because they created their own kind of accent and way of speaking because
love it.
there's nobody else that's around them that's French, right? So they have their own unique way of speaking, which for me, which the reason I think is so interesting is because it's almost like a snapshot of when those people left. So, like, for example, like the people that I guess my ancestors came from France and they immigrated to Canada, in the east of Canada. And then we use words that when they emigrated, we're still using those old words. In France, they don't use those words, right? And then so you kind of get that same effect. People that left then Atlantic Canada and then got deported to Louisiana are using, older words that,
That's so cool. Wait, what's an example of like a word? I probably won't understand the difference, but like between like the Canadian French and like regular French, like what's a word that you use?
So like, for example, like my grandparents would use more old traditional words, or I guess like, for example, like my grandma, she would say, instead of like a ligne à linge, like where you would like hang your clothes, she'd say ligne à harde. Harde is meaning like clothes, but an old word for clothes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so like for us, it's just normal
it's like
to
a
hear.
time capsule.
But yeah, and then it was really interesting to kind of go back to France, go see the old Acadians. So our peoples, were called the Acadians, and the Acadian, to go back to go see the original houses of the Acadians, to see all the last names of these people that own land, and it's just like fuck. It's like everybody that's here. It's such a weird like experience, and then just to kind of talk to the people in France. They're just like, oh fuck, like obviously we have a really interesting accent, and then just kind of talking about those old words that we use, and they're just like, fuck, like we don't use that anymore. And anyway, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, I did not even think about that. Like the French, I guess, in Canada and like New Orleans is like it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
But even more warped, like especially the one in New Orleans, like because it was also like Spanish also colonized it too, and then you have like a lot of Caribbean people that came up, and that is so cool. I love learning that kind of stuff about language. I feel like that's a big thing about New Orleans is like like I love the language, but for me it's also the history and the ghosts and the voodoo.
Yeah.
That's a town that has darkness, but they have a lot of, like I told you about the history, a lot of darkness in the South, but they have so much life that combats it, and they kind of showcase their darkness.
Yeah, they embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, versus in Birmingham or some of these cities, they're like, that didn't happen. Like, so in Tuscaloosa, I was in an African American Studies class, and we took a little field trip down the street to the president's mansion, and we went to the storage shed, and they were like, this used to be slave homes, slave housing, and they use it now to hold Christmas stuff. And I'm like, cool. So we're not gonna, this is a historical event.
Yeah.
Like this should not be holding like Santa Clauses. This should be like a place where people could go on tour, like learn about the history of the land. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like at least in New Orleans, it's like, look where this thing used to happen here. That's a museum now. And so that's why I'm kind of going back to that point is like New Orleans has a lot of dark history because it was like a big slave port, but they also have all this like life to it, It's a very layered town. That's why I'm saying you don't have to even be a partier to go and enjoy it. Like it's a great, especially like learning about French culture too. So cool.
Yeah.
It's a must.
Yeah. For us, like August 15th is kind of the day that we kind of celebrate that deportation. And a lot of people from Louisiana come back to the homeland and party here.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even know that connection. Yeah. That is so cool.
So it's pretty fucking interesting. I want to transition from that, and I want to talk about something that's maybe a little polarizing in the United States, but that I think you don't really get to experience in a lot of other places in the world. Guns.
Oh, I'm the wrong person for this.
I'm not asking for your personal opinion. I'm just kind of, what's the gun culture like? in Alabama, for example, like, can people just carry guns? Can they just...
I don't even know. I feel like I'm not. I told you I'm not. I feel like I don't. I'm not around people who use guns.
I mean, do you go to the
I've seen
store
one.
and see people fucking conceal carry?
I haven't, but I did used to work at this hibachi grill, and someone brought in a gun. And I was like, bruh, if you're scared to come eat some fucking shrimp fried rice, like, go home. Like, we don't need you to bring a gun to get shrimp thrown in your mouth. Like,
He's trying to shoot it out of the air.
I think it has a lot to do with, like, ego. It's not about protecting. It's about, like,
Macho.
I feel like I can't represent my personality in a certain way, so I'm gonna bring a gun to a hibachi grill. That's the only time I've really seen it. I don't hang out with hunters. I personally am becoming vegetarian slowly, so I just don't. No, I'm not the right person.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I feel like I wish I had more insight, but I don't hang around people that use it, or that's just not my kind of person. I feel like if you want to protect yourself, I believe in, like, combat.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Do some
like,
MMA.
I would love to learn martial arts, like, can you fight on holding, like, your own two hands? That's what I kind of believe in, versus a gun where it's like anyone could pick that up and not have, I don't know. I'm not good for that.
That's all good. We'll move on. So now you're looking to take some time off in this next couple years and to do a bit of traveling. Where are you planning to go?
This is like kind of my long-term travel. I've kind of noticed as a traveler that I do like to have my space and I like to have a home. So I'm going to take breaks. I'm going to do like 6 months on, like a few months recuperating back in Nashville. Starting off in Europe because that's where I know the most people, and I have like cousins over there. But honestly, I have been so fascinated by Latin America. Like, I know it's like kind of going this way and then back that way, but the regions of the world I'm very interested in. My favorite music is coming out of Latin America right now. There's a lot of cool like dance, EDM, like tribal music coming out of like Colombia, Mexico. I'd love to go to Africa. Africa would be cool. I don't really care, honestly, as long as I'm on the move. We'll just see where it takes me. I don't like to plan. I like to just kind of, see who you meet and kind of go from there. But I'm starting in Europe this summer.
If I can give you any tips, getting drunk and just getting your credit card out, like we were just talking before, it seems to work out. So
yeah. Yeah.
Wake up the next morning like, oh fuck, I guess I got a flight in 2 hours.
Yes, that's what I want to do. I'm not planning hard at all. Like, I'm just gonna start in Europe, see who I meet, kind of go from there. I'll probably be there for 3 or 4 months, and then, yeah, I would love to make my way back and go to the Caribbean and Latin America. Like, I would love to go to Jamaica. I want to explore Mexico more. So we'll see. We'll find out.
Cool.
I don't know.
Awesome. Looking forward to kind of, follow along.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a deeper question, I guess, around your travels. Is there something, I guess, that you're looking to get out of this trip? You mentioned that you kind of want to just go and experience, but like, is there something that you're looking to, get out of this?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, like some background, like I've been spending the past like 5 years, like struggling living in LA, and I couldn't travel because I was like trying to freaking survive there. And for me, this trip will prove that I can make money while online and travel. Like, that's what I'm trying to prove to myself. It's not even like I'm trying to prove a lifestyle, I think, more than like just explore countries. I want to prove that, like, oh my God, I did it. I'm able to make money online and travel and have like this kind of life. I don't have to struggle and like work in a restaurant, slave away, and then have like a few months of break and then go back into like just working in a restaurant again. So for me, that's what this trip really means, is that like I've accomplished after like 5 years of like imagining and then working towards this. Like I can make money online now.
You're going to become a digital nomad.
Yes, that's the short-term version of it. Yes,
Nice.
I want to be I'm on the works of becoming a digital nomad. That's why I'm spending this whole 6 months. I'm just like busting ass to get clients and just make sure I'm set up. I don't want to travel until I'm set up. That's how I'm kind of going about this.
Nice. And what are you planning
Yeah.
to do, just for the people wondering?
Yeah, so I am a podcast editor, and so I'm in an audio. I do audiobooks too. So I've been like setting up clients and stuff. I might work in some sales too, but I really have found a passion in editing. I think it's fun. I think it's really fun. So that's kind of where my focus is right now. And yeah, so we'll see. I have 2 clients right now. And I'm trying to book some more. We'll see where it goes from there. And that's what I'm saying. 6 months, I will be in a different field.
Yeah.
Like I will be way ahead. So I just started doing this like a month ago and I already have 2 clients. So I think 6 months is a pretty good timeline.
Nice.
So,
and are you just posting your services? You're offering your services on like Upwork or Fiverr?
Yeah, I'm on Upwork. But what I'm in the works of setting up right now. So you already been on my podcast, but it's called Start That Pod. Essentially, it's a podcast where it's kind of like podcast therapy. You just kind of come on. Yeah. Let's learn about podcasting together. Yeah. You know, it's kind of a space to admit that you don't know what's going on, but let's learn. But on there, I'm also going to be advertising my podcast editing services. I am having a website I'm about to launch. I'm also going to do kind of like discovery calls as a service. So like, I love helping people kind of discover their passion. A lot of people want a podcast. They just don't know what about.
Or where to start.
And so but they do want to do it. So I think I'm starting a program, like let's start it together, and that'll be a service I offer. So I'm literally launching that all next month. So I'm like so slammed, but yeah, that podcast will come out March 5th. And, but I'm definitely, those are some of the services I'm going to be offering.
I'm just kind of thinking about it, but I'm looking to actually, I guess I haven't announced this yet, but I'm looking to start to release some merch.
Really?
Yeah. And so I think that'd be maybe a good next episode.
Yes. I haven't even covered that yet. I didn't even thought about covering that. That'd be something we could definitely cover. A lot of people have merch. Yeah. And a lot of people.
I did a lot of research on it, finding the right brand, finding the right, everything, and just. I think you'd like to maybe hear about that. But anyways, but yeah, you're also the host of the Culture Cult Travel Show. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes. So I'll start that pod's very educational, wholesome. So Culture Cult Show's not that. It's kind of like this. Like you just cut up. I had one of my client she was like, I'm gonna listen to your podcast. I was like, no, don't do that. And she was like, don't worry, I don't mind cussing. I was like, don't do it. Like it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's definitely a show where we cut up and it's we like let loose and we learn about the world. Because again, growing up in Alabama, I told you it's a monoculture, and all I wanted to learn is I craved to learn like about other cultures. So essentially, I spin the globe, whatever country I land on. I find a very obscure story that hasn't been told yet, and I tell it to the audience and to a really funny guest. And it's about like not admitting you don't know about the world, but you also want to hear a good story. But yeah, that's what it's about. Definitely heavy on the cussing, but I feel like if you listen to this show, you're fine. Like you can join.
People that listen to our stuff are normal.
Yeah, thank you. I have my aunts are listening to it, and I'm like, stop. Like don't like
Marie's cussing a lot.
I know. Like no my family's not Southern. They're like the rich Southerner. They're like the sorority.
They're like, I do this. Like, I do solemnly declare.
There's all kinds of Southerners. Let me explain real quick. Little breakdowns. There's like I think what the redneck is what a lot of people have in mind. The rednecks. There's the rednecks. What you're wearing, camo. You're representing that. And they talk like this. They talk like real. It's like marbles in their mouth.
Chewing the back.
One time I was talking. I knew a redneck once, and he was so sweet. He was very sweet. They're not all. They're ignorant, but not all of them are like haters. It's hard to get off subject. But I told him I was going to Spain. He goes, Spain.
What state that in?
Why in the hell would you go to Spain? Why would you go to Spain? And he was like, ain't that like Mexico? And I was like, okay, here we go. So there's that kind of Southerner. God bless him. He was curious. Spain's like Mexico, apparently. So there's that. Then my family's like high sorority. There's a sorority where it's all about composure and the look and, wearing nice clothes and wearing the right brands and like looking good for the community, like and doing the football games and the sorority girls.
Is your dad like Colonel Sanders?
No, not at all.
When I think of like high brass, like a Southern person, I just see like
no.
The
but
KFC guy.
I will say, if you do really want to hear like a true Southerner, my grandmother, she's born in 1927. She was born in Atlanta. She has the most. Oh my God. She has the most beautiful Southern accent. It's regal.
Can you do it?
It's like, go on with the wind. Well,
let's get her
I'll
on
try.
the
It
phone.
won't really sound like it. No, but I'll send you like a 2-second clip you can add to it if you want
Sure.
to, so you can like just like 10 seconds so you can
Sure.
hear it. I've interviewed her on my podcast, but so she talks like this. It's like very now tell me what do you think about Canada? That's how she talks. It's slow and regal. That's how she talks. So there's all kinds of Southerners, and I'm trying to tell you, it's not just the guy who was like Spain's like Mexico. It's not all that.
She
So
sounds like, have
I'll
you seen
send you a
Eastbound and
clip.
Down?
I've heard of that show. I've
Okay,
heard
Will
of it.
Ferrell's character, I think he plays kind of that regal. He's a BMW car salesman, so Ashley, shape of BMW.
Yes.
But anyways, when the description and the sound, it kind of sounds like that a bit to me.
Yes. Yeah. I actually did an interview with her on my show. It was really early on, so like the editing shit, who
Yeah.
cares? The story is great. She tells a story about one time she was driving through Alabama, and they closed off a road, and they're like, you have to go down this one road. And she was like, okay. They go down this road. They end up in a KKK parade in the 1950s.
Shit.
Yeah. And she said it was the most terrifying thing she's ever gone through. She was like, I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. And then they find out later that I don't know if it's the Green Dragon or the Grand Dragon, but it's like the leader of the KKK. She finds out her doctor, her neighbor, her a friend of hers, a close friend, is the Grand Dragon of the KKK. Like, it's a story where I'm like, this is history. Like, my grandmother, like, lived through history, and she wasn't like on the wrong side of history. Like, she was on the right side.
I mean, she was in the parade, so
she didn't know. No, she did not know. She said it was really scary. Like,
yeah,
because, oh God. And she said like all the hoods, and like, it was just, she couldn't get out. They couldn't figure out a way to get out of the parade. But y'all, I really would suggest listening to the episode. It's like way back in there, but it's called like Travel Stories Beware of Highway 78 or something.
Yeah.
That one is a great way to hear about the South back in the 1950s from like her perspective. It's just scary that she knew someone that was just hiding himself like that.
yeah.
Like church going folk, doctor, neighbor, Grand Dragon of the KKK. And you know he was at that event.
Yeah.
You know he
He's
was
the
there.
Grandmaster.
So
He's
scary.
doing some bad shit, probably.
Grandmaster. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but that he was that. And
Fuck.
I didn't even know she had that story on her. So yeah, there's all kind of Southern. The South is leveled. So anyways, long story short, that's my podcast. We tell crazy stories.
Yeah.
You can hear my grandmother.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in hearing that one, because that's very interesting, I think.
Scary.
Yeah.
Like it was, yeah. And she also tells a ghost story on that one too. That's fucking freaky. So I'll just send you like a 10-second clip so you can just hear her voice, but I'll send you that
Sure.
one. But yeah, my new season's coming out March 1st. It's a really good one. Lots of crazy stories on that one. I cover one on like a guy in Croatia who like couldn't die. Like he almost died like 7 times, like, but he just couldn't die. And he almost died in like really weird ways.
Is
I'm
it the Rakia?
interviewing someone. No. But also I haven't done this interview yet, but I'm in the process of interviewing someone. His name's Wawa. He was born in a cannibalistic tribe, and they were going to kill him. But then ABC Australia, like, they were just a documentary crew that was just going in to film the tribe, and they noticed they were like going to kill this little child, so they take him out.
Shit.
And I found him as an adult. And so I'm going to be interviewing him. So it's just
Wow.
stories like that, essentially.
That's insane.
Like, yeah, it'll be interesting because it's a comedy podcast, but I'm going to have to do a pretty serious interview.
So, what does human taste like?
Yeah, no, I'm not asking questions like that. I'm going to be very sensitive, and he's very excited to come on. He messages me every day, and he's like, when am I coming on? I'm like, I
You
don't
need like
know.
a
I'm
like
ver-
button, right?
I know.
Keep it light.
It'll be interesting.
No, fucking right. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that too. So I understand
Yeah.
that you've got a bit of a story going to a certain
yeah.
music festival.
Okay, yeah, cool. We came up with this because you were talking about, I think you have an episode on red flags,
Yeah.
right?
Or
I don't know if you've done
we
that
had
one.
an
So,
episode on getting dumping people for certain reasons on Valentine's Day that came out a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. This is my red flag story. I think last year I had like a weird phase. I just got out of a relationship and I was very trusting. And I was just like, I don't know. I was just like in a good mood. And I just decided to ignore every possible red flag. So before you judge me, don't do it. Don't judge me. Okay. Because this story is so crazy. You're going to be like, what is wrong with this girl? I was just living life. Okay. I'm very trusting. So, okay. So it was my first Coachella offer to go on a trip.
Hey, where's Coachella?
Let me back this shit up. Coachella, it's like in the desert in like, I don't know. It's like outside Palm Springs in California. Okay. But to back the story up, I knew this guy for years, like 4 or 5 years. I worked with him. I always had a crush on him. Like he's also from Alabama.
He's my cousin.
He was very cute. Yeah, no, he's not my cousin. That doesn't happen, y'all.
Other than my parents. I mean, I'm kidding.
No, it doesn't happen. So I knew him for a few years. I always had a crush on him, but I was dating someone. He actually dated my roommate at some point.
You got the
deets? He was very handsome. Yeah. he was very handsome, very blonde. I was very into blondes at that time. And so, I don't know what happened, but somehow we started we had like one date one day of the week. And I was like, oh my God, I know these butterflies. He seemed so I know he's a stoner, but that's kind of all I knew about him. So excited. Like 3 days. He just got up. One red flag, number 1. Just broke up with someone. This is a big one. If someone just broke up with someone, don't date them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give them a bit of time.
Don't. Yeah, give it some time. This was fresh. He was talking about his ex a lot, how she's crazy. Oh, she's crazy. Of course she is. So at the time, all I know is girl was crazy. He had to leave her. I'm now dating him for a week. And so he was like, hey, I had my ex-girlfriend I bought her a ticket for Coachella. Do you want to come? She's obviously not going anymore. And I had this gut fucking feeling. I was like, I shouldn't go. I was like, I shouldn't
Who was playing?
And King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That was a big one for me. Snow Allegra. And then some bigger ones like Harry Styles and what? No, he's great. Sorry. I don't know. Other people. I was there for King Gizzard. Okay. So, so I was like, sure. I was also dating another guy at the same time. So I was just hoeing it out. And I was like,
living your best life.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I don't have a good feeling, but I'll go with you. So I was like, but I'm bringing a friend. I don't know why. I was like, I should bring a friend. Yeah. So I bring my friend. God bless her. He picks us up. First thing he starts doing as we're driving away, he's like, I got to pull over real quick. I got to pull over. I got to get some donuts. Motherfucker buys 24 donuts for a 3-hour car ride. I'm laughing it off. I'm like, oh, he's just a little hungry. A little sweet tooth.
Got that beaties.
Then he starts pulling the leather off of his steering wheel while he's driving. And he's like, I've been trying to fix this car for a long time. And I'm just laughing at with my friend. I'm like, ha ha ha. Yeah. Wow. I've never seen anyone do any of this before. 30 minutes into the car ride. We're driving. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, sure. Okay. So we're driving. So everything's kind of going smoothly. Nothing.
How many
really
donuts you get down in 3 hours?
Bruh. I don't know, but it was not it was definitely 4 or 5. It was a lot of donuts for one fucking person. And he's smoking so much while we're driving, which is fine. But because I do smoke, but not this is next level kind of stoner. So, oh my God, we get to this campsite and everything's fine. We wake up the next morning. We can't get to the fucking concert because he's constantly taking stuff in and out of the car, rearranging it. We're 3 hours late to Coachella because he's taking it out of the car, rearrange, put it back together, take it out of the car, rearrange, put it back together. So we're driving to Coachella. He's rolling a blunt while we're driving. His car. I'm driving his car. And I'm I just know there's a lot of cops out here because there's
a lot of people.
Coachella. Yeah. Lights come on. I'm like, okay, stay calm. I'm very cool and calm. Weirdly in intense situation.
Just car smells like dope.
I mean, he has weed all over his lap. And not to mention, he has a fuck ton of other drugs in the car that's not weed. And so I'm very calm. I'm
sorry,
hi, how are you doing?
What's the situation like? Yeah. Just to kind of get people up to speed in California, it's state legal.
It's legal, but you're not supposed to be smoking while driving. That's considered a DUI. I could get in a fuck.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Just want to make sure.
Not to mention he has Molly. Who else knows? I don't know. I don't really do drugs, honest to God, so I don't even know what was in the car. So we get pulled over, and the cops are actually very chill. He was like, hey, can you not roll while you're driving? And I was like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Then he just gets so crazy. He's like, why are you telling me what to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
The guy?
oh my God. Yes. Oh, let's make up a name for him real quick. So in case I say his name. His name's John Dial. You're going to bleep that out. So maybe his name is
Mohammed.
No. That's too hard to say.
Joe.
I had to go from John to Joe. So Joe is now yelling at the cops. And the cops are being calm. He's the one freaking out. And I literally like squeeze his wrists and I look at him and I go, Joe, shut the fuck up. I was like, I have this. Shut the fuck up. That doesn't matter. So then the cop lets us go. He's like, guys, can you just please not roll in the car? And I was like, I got you. I'm so sorry. While they're walking away, he goes, this is the Alabama. This is, okay, remember how we talked about the levels of Southerner? Okay. This is a different kind of Southerner. This is a white trash privileged boy Southerner. He turns to the cops and he's like, hey, you know, what's he saying? My uncle is a state trooper of Alabama. When he hears about this, and I was like, Joe, like, sorry if I just screamed at the microphone. I'm like, Joe, shut up. Like, shut up. I, honest to God. And that's when the cop looked at me and he just, you can't see because I guess you could see me. But he was just leaving this look like,
good luck, buddy.
like, good luck. Yeah. And
Real keeper.
am like, my heart sinks. Because now I'm with an angry drug addict. And we're in this, me and my friend in this car with him for like 3 days on this trip. I'm terrified at this point because I'm like, I don't do angry people and I don't do crazy people. And somehow I am with one
Of both.
of that. Oh my God.
Jesus, Marie, know how to fucking pick them, eh?
I got better at this, but I was fresh out of a relationship. I was like, oh, whatever flows. No. So anyways, we're at this concert thing. I am ditching his ass like left and right. Like he's like, I want to go see Drake. I'm like, oops, hate Drake, can't go. I like Drake, but I'm just like, oh, I hate that artist, can't go. Like I'm just dodging him left and right. I feel really bad about that. We get back to the campsite. He's talking his ear off to everyone. He's wearing like a ski cap, like a beanie on top of a beanie with a bike helmet, like shirtless, talking to these poor like dads that are on like a camping trip. And they're giving me that same look. They're like, good luck. And I'm embarrassed. I'm like, mm-mm. I'm like, we're not dating. You're not touching me. Like, let's just figure out a way out of this. So like, imagine a million other red flags are happening. Last day, same shit. He's unpacking the car. He's putting it back together. Unpacking the car, putting it back together. We're late to Coachella. Thank God. My friend, Tommy, I'll say his name. Tommy had a group of friends and they had a house in the city of Coachella. And he was like, come pick us up and we'll ride to Coachella together. So we're riding to Coachella. We're really late. The traffic is so intense. You really can't get to the festival. Like, it's honestly, I don't know how people get to the festival. Like, it's honestly better to walk.
Yeah.
Like hours. So it's a very frustrating situation. But again, I know how to keep calm in situations. We're all chilling, vibing. He's not. Suddenly, he's angry again. But this time, like, scary angry. And he is like building this anger up, getting like huffing and puffing, and then like starts just like speeding really quickly, then like stopping the car. And there's cops everywhere again. And yes, we have drugs in the car. There's cops like everywhere because, they're like standing there. He's just speeding up and stopping, speeding up and stopping. Like, and my friends are like, hey, can you not do that? So he speeds really, really quickly, like pops a Yui in the front of all these cars. And then turns around to my friends. I'm going to try not to scream in the microphone this time. But he was like, I'm trying to get us to the concert. Don't you fuck with me. It was so scary. And then my friends screamed at him. And I don't know what to do. I'm so livid. I'm quiet. Like, because what do you do when you're with someone like that has anger issues like this? He's now screaming at everyone for no apparent reason. And we're all stuck in this car with him. So I was like, John. Oh, Joe.
Yeah, Dave.
Muhammad. Yeah. Joe. I was like, just quietly, I was like, take us back to the house now. Like, so we go back to the house. Now we have angry white boy from Alabama. He has all our shit in the car. Like, how are we going to get home? So I was like, I quite quietly go inside the house and I'm like, hey, Tommy, we're going to stay with you. You're going to drive us back. I'm going to go break it off with this guy. Which is scary because I don't know how he's going to react. Yeah. Like, if he can talk to a cop like that, is he going to hit me? Like, he's not even scared of a cop. So
his uncle's a trooper in Alabama. I mean, that's a big deal.
Guys. His uncle's a state trooper in Alabama. So I just like go up to him and all I say is like very short. I was like, we're going home with Tommy. I'm going to get my stuff out of the car. Surprisingly, he doesn't say anything. He throws my shit on the grass. But then like I quietly get back inside and my friend Tommy, he was like, guys, that's how he talks. He's like, guys, I don't want to fight this guy. And I was like, Tommy, you're not fighting him. My friend Meg's going to fucking fight him if anyone. This bitch works out every day, 3 hours a day. I was like, Meg's got him. Like, so, but thankfully he didn't do anything, but he did just sit outside the house for like an hour. And that was kind of scary because I was like, what's he doing? So we decided to still go to Coachella. So we all just like call an Uber and like sneak out behind the car and quickly get in the car. And yeah, I mean, he left the house when we got back. He texted me a week later. Yeah. Ew. God. And he was like, I don't even know what he said. He was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay. And then he texted me a week after that, and it's a picture of him. It's a picture of him in a bathtub, but like his arms kind of displayed out, like a dramatic like picture. And he goes, I'm back in Alabama. I just want to let you know, I left all my anger in Alabama. That's what he said to me. And then I blocked him.
So that guy was clearly on meth.
Well, what's crazy, when I first met him, I just knew him to be like a major stoner. He was actually such a shithead at work. We'd be busy at work, like brunch shift. He would just go and disappear. You know how he got fired from that job? Again, red flags I saw years ahead. Years ahead. Guys, don't judge me. Years ahead. He got fired at the hotel I worked at because he disappeared in the middle of a shift, busy as fuck. He comes back and he's like, bruh. I was like, what? And he was like, I just got fired. And I'm like, why? He was like, I just wanted to take a nap. He went into one of the conference rooms, wrapped himself up with a tablecloth and took a nap. That's the exact day Google was touring the hotel for a buyout. And they opened the doors and there's an employee wrapped up like a hot dog, pig in a blanket on the floor taking a nap. And he was like, I don't even get why I got fired. Like, oh, like this guy is a definition of a loser. A meth head loser. So he was on drugs then. And then 4 years later, his brain is like mush.
I mean, just the parts that for me, like the parts that he demonstrated maybe meth use is like the rearranging of the vehicle.
Oh my God. Just stripping the...
That dude seems like he was on something.
Where would you have stopped?
Well, one, I don't date dudes. I don't know. Probably fairly early on. But I mean, it's easier said than done. I know sometimes, you're forced into situations because you're like, well, I guess we're, on this adventure with this person for the next 3 days. You're kind of like, he's our drive. So I guess we'll let some shit slide. But yeah.
Yes.
That dude's.
I know.
Definitely not.
This all happened within a week. A week. Guys. That's 7 days, if you don't know what a week is. And that all happened. Yeah.
Weeks different in every country, right?
Just in case you don't know. You're in Alabama.
My comment from the whole thing is, what the fuck's up with your roommate? No heads up?
Oh, well, no. Here's the other thing. That roommate is also a drug
addict. Oh, okay. So okay.
They actually were an incredible match for each other. Also a person I didn't realize her tendencies, because she was actually a very good roommate, despite she but they were both drug addicts together.
Okay.
I don't even do drugs for like that. I just smoke sometimes. So it was quite an experience for me. I didn't really date people after that. Like, I was like, I need a fucking break. I honestly was like, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I'm good. Like, I went from like a very like normal relationship to like a psycho drug addict. So, what? Like what?
Yeah. You might want to go to church on your next hunt for the next date.
Or a therapist. Damn. Like what?
Fuck.
But I did get to go to Coachella for free.
Yeah.
So
And almost jail.
But nothing's
that's
free.
fun.
And almost jail. Oh my God. That was so scary. Like, thank God those cops were cool. Like, thank God. Ugh, what a piece of trash. So that's like some Southern trash for you.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is maybe, don't ignore the red flags, no matter how deep you are in, and just fucking pull the plug.
Oh my God. Yeah. Now I'm very sensitive to like even yellow flags. I'm very sensitive to it because yellow flags become red flags. But this guy was blaringly red, like from the beginning. So, I don't know. I don't know what that's. I feel like you haven't lived unless you've dated a drug addict.
Yeah.
Okay. And gone to Coachella for free. So you haven't really dated around until you've done that.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's dated someone crazy.
Yeah. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right, let's get to the top 5. Let's learn about some podcasts.
Yes.
So just
can I hear yours?
No,
first?
you're going first. You go 1, I go
Okay.
2, 3, then you go 4, 5, and we can't pick the same ones.
All right.
So maybe just
I try to mix.
So just maybe give us the name of the podcast, a little description. People, just a reminder that you will be able to vote on your favorite of the 2.
Oh, okay, cool. So I try to mix it up between like very popular ones and like ones that are like indie.
Sure.
But the first podcast I ever heard and the one that I based my format off of is My Favorite Murder. I feel like a lot of people know that one. Definitely more females, but it's like definitely storytelling and it's just really witty and funny. And like, that's my, like every Monday, every Thursday, I haven't missed an episode for 3 to 4 years. Like they feel like they're in my head almost. I love them. That's a big one. Okay.
So interestingly enough, that podcast, when we were in Nashville for that bachelor party, they were doing a live showing or live taping in Nashville. So that's
yeah. My boss went. My manager went. She said it was amazing.
Yeah, this would have been, I guess, a few years back, but like I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
so we were just kind of looking at what was available in terms of shows and whatever. I was Ryman. I think they were playing in the Ryman, but anyways. Yeah, cool podcast. So this one here is my favorite podcast as of late. Like I was just telling you a little bit before the episode, is I'm fucking addicted to this show. It's such a fun format, and it's one of the only podcasts that I listen to that I laugh out loud, like very loud, because it's so it's a podcast called Kill Tony. It's hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe, who's a stand-up comedian. And what they do on the show is they're shooting like in an auditorium, and what they do is they have people go up and do a 1-minute set. So people will sign up before the show, and it can be either people that are really good, people that it's their first show. It can be fucking anybody. It can be a crazy person. It could be fucking Joe that signs up. And so they pull their name, and once their name gets called, they go up and do their 1 minute, and then typically Tony Hinchcliffe will have, other stand-up comedians on the panel, and then they'll kind of just, if they did well, they'll, celebrate them and, just talk shit. But if they fuck up or they suck, they will destroy them.
Oh no!
And it's one of those podcasts where nothing is off limit, like no topic is off limit. Like they just push the boundaries. I fucking love it. I can't stop listening to it. And I've been finding myself to watch it a bit more on YouTube than the typical, just audio formats, because it's fucking, you can see the people on stage, because they sometimes will make fun of their appearance. Or you just want to kind of match the voice to the face, and it's fucking hilarious.
Would you do it?
If I had a minute, yeah, I'd try probably, but I'd love to go see the show one day. It's ruthless. And I love it.
Oh my god, I love comedies. I love comedy shows, so I will check this out. Like, and you can discover so many comedians on there. I feel like some like new ones.
And like the show has kind of like reoccurring guests that come who have kind of started at Kill Tony and now they're like touring with Joe Rogan, or they're like
so cool.
And they're just random people from the street that have been given an opportunity. So it's really cool. My number 2 that I listen to probably the most is a hockey podcast called Spittin' Chicklets. And they're very interesting because they were they're part of the Barstool Sports kind of umbrella of podcasts. Interestingly enough, for a period of time, they had the best-selling vodka in North America. So a podcast released vodka, Pink Whitney.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And anyways, their stuff, I guess, is a bit more for the hockey fan, but they're just hockey stories, kind of stories from behind the scenes, and it's just fucking hilarious.
See, Phil, that's the kind of merch you should be doing. That's so smart. Be like, yo, like vodka. Like what would you sell? Like what kind of liquor would you sell?
I mean, I'd have to probably start with beer.
Oh, obviously beer.
Obviously. Listen, I think I'm going to start with probably clothes, and we'll see what happens. But it's just that it's, for us in Canada, it's a little different. It's a little different. It's kind of similar to the States where there's provincial liquor licenses. So in terms of selling it kind of countrywide, I don't know how that would work.
Lame. Well, if you sell locally and can ship it, I would love to buy a beer. Hopefully you make a nice lager and not an IPA, or unless you are an IPA guy. What kind of beer would 2 beers still take off? What is the taste of it?
Probably a nice little crisp Pilsner.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's an easygoing show, it's not an intense IPA. No. I feel like if you were an educational podcast, we drink an IPA and have mustaches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I love that. I honestly would love if you could figure this shit out for the beer thing, because I would love to be drinking it and be like, oh my God, it's a podcast. You should listen. That's so cool. Yeah. You should do that.
Yeah. Well,
I never heard of that.
Yeah. Maybe down the line we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
Yeah. Okay. So this one, I was telling you, this one changed my life, changed my life. It's called Hindsight, HINDZIGHT. It's a very short, he talks 5-10 minutes a day. That's why I wake up with him every morning. It's it's changed my life in a lot of ways. He talks a lot about creativity and he's just it's very spiritual podcast. He's the reason I started my podcast, because I felt very lost passion wise. And he talks a lot about just do it. Just start something. I don't know. He talks a lot about creativity. He's a great speaker. I'm actually pretty agnostic or atheist, but he talks about spirituality in a new light. He's Jamaican too. So Jamaican Canadian. So he talks a lot about the spirit, and I knew it. But he talks a lot about Jah. I guess it's the Rastafari version of spirituality, and I don't know, he has this great energy, and I wake up with him every day. He has a YouTube channel that's more popular now. It's called Hindsight, where he pours tea and I don't know, changed my life more spiritually. Nice. So I listen to him every day.
And is it he does a daily podcast?
Yeah, he's kind of stopped a little bit because his YouTube's taking off, but I really suggest just waking up to him 5 to 10 minutes a day, and tell me you don't feel amazing after. You don't feel like you're a better person or want to be a better person and more creative. He really talks, if you feel stuck creatively or passion wise, oh my God, he'll get your shit moving real quick. He's the reason I started
your day, get
getting my stuff together.
Let's fucking go.
Really important to me. So I listen to a lot of wellness podcasts. Yeah. Do I say my second one?
Number 3.
Go? Okay. Okay, we're going to do an indie podcast, Armchair Explorer. It's the only travel podcast I listen to. I listened to this while I was working this shit day job, 9 to 5. I felt so stuck. Armchair Explorer. He's a travel adventure writer, but he does his own podcast. And he interviews adrenaline adventurous, people who go deep sea cave diving, or this. My favorite one is this guy who walked from the bottom of Africa to the top, just adventure. He's a great storyteller. He asks great questions, great editing, very moving. It'll make you want to I've actually, that's my new goal in life. One of my goals is I do want to walk across the continent. And because I just listened to this podcast and I'm like, this sounds what I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like as if you're an adventurer, you'd like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's you've told me about this one. That's definitely a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more serious. Like it's not like funny, but it's very enlightening.
Nice, motivating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, my number 3 in terms of podcasts that I listen to, I guess on a daily or a weekly basis, probably. So this one's This Past Weekend with Theo.
This past weekend.
This past weekend with Theo Vaughn.
Okay.
And Theo Vaughn, I think I've come to a realization that is probably one of the funniest people in the world.
Okay.
I think he's funnier in person than he is actually in the stand-up. Because
Really?
he's just like an
Okay.
improvisationalist. Like he's just like the shit he comes up with. You're just like, how? Like that's what? He gets awesome guests, but like he's the show. Like it doesn't matter who's on. He's
Okay.
just you have to listen. It doesn't make sense. My girlfriend and I
want to
will
listen
be
that
driving. My fiance and I will be driving.
Fiance
will be driving, and that's definitely one we listen to because he's just like laugh out loud funny. Like it's fucking hilarious.
Hell yeah. I wrote that down because I love comedy podcasts. Like I love like improv too.
Yeah.
That one's really okay. So I've killed Tony in this past
Yeah,
weekend.
and then so my number 4, I'm gonna go with one that is more informative, less of a comedy podcast, but it's one called Real Dictators.
Ooh, that sounds exactly what it sounds like.
Yep. So
Intense.
what it is they tell you stories about, and it's dramatized versions of like what really happened in history, but it's stories of different dictators. So like the ones that you know,
Wow.
you know what I mean, like Hitler, Mao, Donald Trump. I mean, I'm kidding.
No, say it.
I'm kidding.
No, we're not kidding.
No, I'm just completely staying out of that. And then it'll tell you about other ones that you may not know. And then it just kind of, it's fucking crazy. The ones that you sometimes don't know about are sometimes even crazier than the ones you do know. Or like the Kim Jong-ils.
And hearing their backstory.
Yeah. Kind of how that manifested to growing into what they became. Even like Hitler, I feel like there's some parts that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I love that. Al Jazeera has a podcast very similar to that where they did one on Gaddafi, and I was like, wow, like you just get to hear. I would love to listen to that. You can hear like how their story and how they turned out the way they did, and could things have been prevented?
Yeah,
you know,
Middle
or
Eastern.
honestly, you might find yourself empathetic. Like I was kind of empathetic for Gaddafi in some parts. I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like why you would think that, why you react that way. Like we hear history on our version side, but to the other person, that could be their hero, you know? So I would love to listen to that one. Real Dictators.
Yeah, it's definitely one that if you're driving or you're looking for like kind of to follow along a story, it's definitely a good one.
Damn. I love that. Okay. Do I go again?
4 and 5 for you.
So this one, bringing it back to comedy. This is The Dollop. Have you heard of this one? Okay, it's a big one. Bruh. This is, I don't suggest this to like anyone. It's very weird. Like at first I tried to listen to it multiple times. I was like, I don't get this humor. Like I don't get it. It's a straight improv show, but history, but it's improv. Like they'll go on like a 3 to 4 minute, like kind of like how Family Guy goes on like those like 3 to 4 minute rants. It's kind of like that. And so it's improv. Sometimes it's like, sometimes I'm literally dying out loud. I'm like, I don't care what I look like right now. It's fucking hilarious. But it's not basic humor. It's very, very dry, sarcastic, silly improv. So if you're into that, and it's American history too. So they just roast American history. Like I learned about George Washington. Piece of shit. Like he wanted to change to slave laws just for himself so he could keep these slaves. Like it's just stuff like that. So it's American history, but improv. It's super funny. If you want to like laugh out loud and be very embarrassed of yourself. Yeah, that's one. But yeah. And did I do our last one? The last one. Okay. Last one. I know I should do another indie one, but actually I will do an indie one. Real quick,
go with what you listen to.
Okay, honest to God, I listened to Armchair Explorer. No, Armchair
Yeah,
Expert.
that's the one. I thought
Sorry.
you were going to say the past one, but
Sorry, no, Armchair. There's two that are very confusing. Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard.
really good.
I love it because it's like you're actually hearing the psychology behind all these people that he interviews. It's not like a normal celebrity show, and Dax is so vulnerable. So I really take him as a influence as an interviewer. I love how he asks questions. So I listen to him for style and like hearing the vulnerability of people's stories. There's a lot of celebrities where I'm like, I don't like their work, but fuck, like they have a great story. So those are my 5.
Nice.
Yeah, those are my 5 podcasts. I love learning about other people's podcasts because I feel like there's a lot that I'm missing. You know.
Yeah. And I guess with my 5th one, my last one, I'm going to not surprise you at all. And I'm going to go with JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience.
You know what? I have never listened to Joe Rogan. I don't know. I've never
Really?
listened
Oh,
to
fuck.
Joe Rogan.
I think he's the GOAT. He's...
Okay, why?
Well, in terms of interviewer, he's probably one of the best. In terms of like spitting like knowledge that he's kind of just learned, like that he's just been researching, he's good at like fucking just firing those facts in person. Like,
Wow.
he's definitely got a really interesting mind. He's also a stand-up comedian, but after having listening to his podcast, I don't think he's that funny.
Oh, no.
I think it's way more informative than he is actually
He's
funny. But he gets, I mean, top shelf guests like
Yeah. No, I know he's like the number one for like getting the biggest guests.
he's listen, I'll send you a couple episodes if you're interested, but
Yeah, send me ones that you like.
I don't always listen to his episodes, but any ones that I do are always really entertaining.
Yeah. That's kind of funny because Dax talks about that a lot. He says like his acting career is kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
like obviously his wife is like killing it. But as an interviewer, as a podcaster, like that's where he thrives. So I think it's really interesting to see how it translates to people.
Yeah.
Like what podcasting, how like it brings out a different personality for people.
Nice. Yeah. I completely agree. I think it's to see them in that light, sometimes it changes kind of what your perception of them a little bit, right? Because like you said, with Dax, you can kind of get that vulnerability, and with Joe, you can kind of see that different side of him because he's, you know, a UFC announcer, he's stand-up comedian, and then you kind of get into that like world where he's talking about science and fucking shit, and you're just like, what? Like this dude's meeting with like a fucking microbiologist or name it, man. He's fucking meeting with them and having a chat, and he's able to kind of go pound for pound with them. So it's kind of cool.
Wow. Yeah. I would love to hear. Yeah, just some of like your favorite ones. I feel like I need to listen to Joe Rogan. Everyone talks about him.
Yeah. So just kind of a recap. So Marie's 5 are My Favorite Murder, Hindsight's, Armchair Explorer, Armchair Expert, and The Dollop. And mine are Kill Tony, Spittin' Chicklets, Joe Rogan Experience, This Past Weekend, and Real Dictators. So Marie...
Real Dictators.
That one's really good. So Marie, listen, thanks so much for coming on. Can you remind people where they can find your work?
So, again, the Culture Cult Travel Show. I'm really bad at SEO, so you literally have to type in travel show. So Culture Cult Travel Show, new season coming out March 1st. And then Start That Pod. If you are a podcaster, if you want to just learn how to start, like how that process goes, and if you want to hear, like, you come on there and you want to hear Phil talk about his experience, it's definitely a place to learn as you go. That's kind of how the feel of it is. It's very vulnerable. So Start That Pod's coming March 5th. That's it. And I can't start another podcast. It's too much work. That's it. I can't.
And I think too, just kind of giving you a shout out for Start That Pod. If you are a podcaster listening to this and you're looking to maybe contribute or to join kind of this community that you've created, I think it's definitely, or that if you have a different perspective that you haven't heard on the podcast, I think they should reach out to you because definitely it's a therapeutic, it's informative.
Yeah. And you don't have to be like an expert or anything. Be like, I just started and I don't know how to do this thing. I'm like, well, let's talk about it. You know, like there's so many people in your shoes, like whatever you're dealing with as a podcaster, whatever your successes are, like so many other people have experienced that. So like, I don't like listening to people who just have all the answers, 'cause that's so boring. It's like, Well, I don't. So
I don't either. We're learning together.
Exactly. And soon we'll be able to cheers with your 2 beers lager. Like that's ideal.
I fucking hope at
Then we'll
some
to do
point.
that.
It'd be like two
Yeah.
beers that are like stuck together, so you get 2 beers. That'd be cool.
That's so cute. I love that. You have to like rip it apart and then like cheers and like yeah, you'll have like a whole
Fucking
thing.
right. Good news, Marie. Thanks so much for coming on, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes, thank you. Cheers, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagne. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.